Now at 7, tracking some wet weather and some gusty winds for this Halloween. When and where the rain will hit the hardest.
Some towns putting Halloween festivities on hold. No trick, but you'll still be able to get your treats.
Then a race to stop raging wildfires burning across California, with winds reaching hurricane strength.
And
they've denied President Trump basic due process rights.
There are no kings or queens here, and no one is above the law.
a historic vote on the House floor to formalize the rules in the impeachment inquiry.
This is 7 News Today in New England.
First at 7, something wicked this way comes. The weather.
Having to go out trick-or-treating in the pouring rain would be miserable.
Creeping it real.
It's showtime.
Dampening the Halloween spirit. A dreary start to today as we take a live look at a cemetery in Salem. Not so spooktacular weather for Halloween. We've got some rain in the forecast. Thanks for being with us on this Thursday morning. I'm Amaka Ubaka.
Hi, everyone. I'm Chris Anderson. I hope you're ready to get out there with all the little ghouls and goblins tonight. We do want to get a check of that weather forecast with Chris Lambert now, and hopefully you can do some hocus pocus magic to make that rain disappear.
Working on it, and I think we'll catch our lows later this afternoon into this evening, so that will work out a-okay for much of the area. Not to say that it's not going to be wet at all, but I'm not expecting a lot of heavy rain during the trick-or-treat times outside. 63 in the city of Boston right now. We do watch the showers continuing to stream in from west to east, and that's going to be the case through about mid-afternoon. But you notice far enough to the west, Pennsylvania, down toward D.C. and Northern Virginia, how there are breaks in the action. That's what we're looking for late this afternoon and early this evening. Can't completely shut down the rain chance, but I think the shower activity becomes more limited, where it's isolated, a few patches of drizzle out there, a lot of clouds and a gusty wind, so it's still not the most pleasant of trick-or-treat evenings out there, but at least the heavier rain will hold off until after the trick-or-treaters are wrapping things up. In fact, about 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, we'll catch some more scattered downpours, and that's when the winds are the strongest. Temperatures early this evening with the patches of drizzle in the mid to upper 60s. Winds will gust this evening 30 to 40 miles an hour and gust even higher than that overnight. We'll talk more on the forecast ahead.
Happening today, a full House vote.
No one runs for Congress to impeach a president.
And instead of setting a high bar, House Democrats seem determined to set a new low.
To launch an official impeachment inquiry.
And that vote is expected to happen later today.
And right now it appears that the House is divided among party lines on the resolution. 7's Dan Housley is live for us in Washington, D.C. with more on today's crucial vote. Dan?
Well, it is a possibly historic vote as we go along a process that doesn't happen very often, the process of removing a U.S. president. Of course, we're a long way from that, but this is a vote to move along the process. Nobody is expecting this vote to go down. They expect it to go pretty much like last night's committee vote, which is largely along party lines, but we'll all be watching to see if there are any defections from either party.
Only the 4th time in our nation's history that Congress has considered the presidential impeachment process.
The House impeachment inquiry moves forward this morning after Massachusetts Congressman Jim McGovern introduced a resolution that now paves the way for public hearings and, in the months to come, a possible vote to impeach the president. I spoke to McGovern here in Washington moments after the vote by the Rules Committee he chairs.
We voted to move this forward. The American people deserve to have a president who's not corrupt.
Republicans say they have little faith in the Democrats' process.
Unlike during the inquiries around both President Clinton and President Nixon, they've denied President Trump basic due process rights.
But critics of the president say he's in this predicament because of unethical behavior, including his phone call with the Ukrainian president in July.
Our current occupant of the White House says, Article 2 says that I can do whatever I want. Well, that just isn't so.
President Trump showing his confidence in his party, tweeting that Republicans are unified and energized against this impeachment nonsense. Looking ahead, the president's former national security advisor, John Bolton, has been invited to testify behind closed doors next week. But Bolton's lawyer says that won't happen without a subpoena. If he does testify, he'll be the most senior witness so far in this inquiry. And don't expect things to move along very quickly after today's vote. The Democrats had been hoping they could get this whole thing wrapped up before Thanksgiving, but now a lot of people are talking that it's not going to go that quickly. It may go before Christmas or well into next year, closer to the 2020 election. We're live in Washington. Dan Housley, 7 News Today in New England.
And Dan, a former member of the president's administration, has now been asked to testify. What do we know about that, and what's it going to take to get him to talk?
Well, John Bolton, the former national security advisor to the president, was a big man inside the White House. Now he could be a big witness here on Capitol Hill. We're told that Congress has asked him to come and testify. However, his lawyer has said he's not coming without a subpoena. So now we wait to see if the Democrats, as we expect they likely would subpoena Bolton. If that happens, he likely would come to testify and be the biggest witness so far. Back to you.
All right, Dan Housley live for us in the nation's capital this morning. Stay with the news station for continuing coverage on the impeachment inquiry. Dan will continue his live reports from Washington, D.C. when the House takes that crucial vote, and you can watch it here on the news station.
We have a breaking story from overnight where South Korea says that North Korea has launched 2 unidentified projectiles that landed in the ocean. That launch comes as nuclear negotiations between North Korea and the United States are at a standstill. Negotiators from both sides met in Washington earlier this month.
And in the fight against ISIS, we're now seeing new video of the raid to take down a terrorist. That is Juliana Mazza here in the newsroom with a closer look. Juliana?
Amaka, the dramatic new footage comes after the ISIS leader was confirmed dead in a DNA test. The footage here showing American troops under fire as they swarmed that compound where al-Baghdadi was staying. Aerial strikes later destroyed that compound so that it wouldn't become a shrine in his honor. So the Pentagon says al-Baghdadi detonated a suicide vest when U.S. troops cornered him in an underground tunnel. He died along with the children who he dragged in there with him. His remains were buried at sea. One Special Forces member who played a key role in that takedown was this dog right here on your screen. Military leaders say Conan the dog helped track down al-Baghdadi. He was hurt in that raid but is doing okay. President Trump tweeted this photoshopped picture of Conan receiving a presidential medal, calling him an American hero. The president says Conan is invited to visit the White House next week. Live in the newsroom, Juliana Mazza, 7 News Today in New England.
And breaking overnight, Boston police say a man shot in Hyde Park is expected to survive. Officers investigating a car riddled with bullet holes right there in the door. This happening late last night on Garfield Avenue.
Now at 7, some trick-or-treaters candy crushed this Halloween because of that wicked weather that we're expecting. Several towns and cities, in fact, taking a rain check on festivities for tonight, but that's not stopping everyone from getting into the Halloween spirit nonetheless. 7's Carrie Corrado live in pretty much the home of Halloween, Salem, this morning with more on some of the plans in Salem and across the region.
No better place to be on Halloween than right here in Salem. And Halloween, it's still on in this area, so we expect nothing less. Now, in other towns across Massachusetts, Halloween is being delayed, not canceled.
Mother Nature casting wicked weather in New England. Howling winds and lurking rain will delay trick-or-treating for kids across several Massachusetts towns.
We're not made out of sugar, we won't melt.
So you're a little disappointed?
Just a little bit, yeah. I would say so, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Swampscott is among communities that have bumped their Halloween back a few days.
What are you going to dress up as?
The Flash.
The Flash? He's a pretty cool guy. Now you're going to have to wait a couple of days, though.
On Saturday.
Out west in Leominster, they too are asking people to unleash their spirit on Saturday. This allowing people to buy themselves a little extra time to find costumes.
I think it's good because it won't be pouring rain when we go around walking down the streets for candy, and the candy won't get soaked.
City officials say it's all about safety.
Branches are getting brittle. They just took a beating from some of those storms we had. And if you're going to have 20 to 30 mile per hour winds, who needs to take the risk?
But in Salem, Halloween is on, and the frightening goblins and Frankenstein will still haunt the streets. Only the fireworks have been canceled here in the home of witchcraft.
I'm very excited because I'm going to be a fallen angel, so I'm extremely excited to go trick-or-treating with my best friend.
So trick-or-treating with your best friend, that's what it's all about. Now, if you want to know if Halloween has been postponed in your area, you can head to our website, WHDH.com, for all the details. Live in Salem this morning, Carrie Corrado, 7 News, Today New England.
Turning now to the California wildfires, powerful winds are fueling flames up and down the state. This is a live look in San Bernardino, where firefighters are battling the fire on the ground. Daryl Forges is live in Southern California with the race to put out these fires. Daryl?
Yeah, that's the big thing, Amaka. Good morning to you. Right now, we're standing here in Ventura County, where there are several fires, especially in Simi Valley, where there's about 5% containment. But you just talked about the fires in San Bernardino. Let's go and show you some more video from San Bernardino as crews fight that fire as of right now. We do know that it's called the Hillside Fire. Mandatory evacuations are going on as we speak, and it's an hour and a half south from us. And as of right now, several homes are on fire. Fires across California continue to rage overnight. Wildfires burning for days, still spreading, while new infernos sprung up on Wednesday. But progress is being made.
The winds that we were talking about yesterday did not materialize to the extremes that we were fearful of. There's a lot of optimism that we have turned the corner for the better on this fire.
Officials warn residents to be cautious. However, though the winds in Northern California are settling, the threat of fire remains.
We are remaining in a very dry air mass over the next several days, even into next week. So keep that in mind. Even though this is the end of the wind event, we are expecting to see those continued dry conditions over several days.
In Southern California,
these winds are not helping.
19 million residents remain under a rare extreme red flag warning as hurricane-force winds have fueled several fires and prompted thousands of evacuations.
I'm not scared, but my husband and daughter, they're packed and ready to go. I'm kind of keeping an eye so I can let them know if it jumps the street and goes into the houses, because that's where we live, and it's the wind is directly aiming at our house.
Fortunately, residents can begin to breathe a sigh of relief as the winds will lighten up heading into the weekend. And the winds have been heavy for the past couple of days. We're talking about wind gusts, especially here in Ventura County, reaching as high as 75 miles per hour. And the other thing that's really important right now when it comes to the situation, firefighters have been working around the clock to fight these fires. Just based off yesterday, you all, just yesterday alone, firefighters in Southern California had to fight 20 fires that sparked on yesterday alone. That's the very latest from Ventura County this morning. Daryl Forges, 7 News, Today in New England.
Just incredible looking at those live pictures coming in from Southern California and just the fight that these firefighters have to deal with each and every day.
No, and they work at one fire and then another one pops up, so it's just a continuous battle. There is so much more still ahead here on the news station for you this morning.
Stay with us on 7 News at 7.